division. One of the reasons for the team's early season success is two-time Pro Bowl tight end Kyle Rudolph. And lucky for us, Kyle is joining us live from Minnesota. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We are great. It's great to have you. Thanks for getting up and hanging out with us. Let's just get right into it. You guys have been playing really good football lately. What has fueled your three-game win streak, would you say, in your opinion?
I think the biggest thing is just getting back to the type of football that we've come accustomed to over the last few years, which allows us to have success, and that's running the football, not turning the football over, and playing good defense. And I think when you go back and look at the last 3 weeks, we're extremely plus in the turnover margin. We're taking care of the football on offense. We're running the football good again. Then obviously everyone knows about our playmakers on the outside in the wide receiver room, and those guys are always going to make plays. So we don't worry about them on a weekly basis. They're going to go out and do their thing.
Kyle, this offseason, you guys had tried to develop some chemistry with the quarterback. Of course, all the news was Kirk Cousins is coming there. He's got all this guaranteed money. Give me some things that you've learned about Kirk Cousins and trying to develop this chemistry with him that maybe people haven't talked about that you believe makes him a special quarterback.
Well, the biggest thing that sticks out to me getting to know Kirk is just his competitiveness. It's not just on Sundays, this entire offseason, obviously, we practiced against a very good defense, and they have some of the best playmakers at all three levels on that defense. And obviously in practice, as you know, Cece, you get put in some tough situations as an offense because you want to make practice harder than the games. And Kirk hates losing every single situation that we would do in practice against a pretty good defense that was in favorable situations. So I think the biggest thing that I've seen from Kirk over the last few months as we've gotten to know each other and play together is just his competitiveness.
Kyle, listen, Kirk Cousins playing great. He's playing at a Pro Bowl level. You guys are one of the best passing offenses in the league. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about this dead arm dance celebration. I need you to explain it to me. What is this dead arm dance celebration? What secrets can you reveal about it, please?
Well, honestly, I had no idea kind of the origin of it or where it came from. It's just something that Kirk said he wanted to do right before the game, and he wanted it to be on the first touchdown. Latavius scored the first touchdown, and he has his Tay-Train dance that he did, so he scrapped the dead arm dance. But then the next touchdown was Adam, and apparently this was a dance that Adam and his college buddies used to do back in the day at Mankato. So I guess he told Kirk about it. Kirk loved it, wanted to implement it. Kirk put his little swag on it, and it has taken the state of Minnesota by storm.
Well, listen, when you can add the swag of a guy from Mankato State to a guy who came up with you like that, you know you're going to have this type of classic celebration. That was great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were all for it. You get all the offensive linemen in there just swinging their arms back and forth. It turned out pretty good.
I'm not even sure why everyone's laughing. That's actually how I dance. That's my good dance, Kyle. Like when I'm really trying to impress people, that's exactly how I go out and dance. Let's talk about Adam Thielen.
Yeah, I'm always good with dances.
Yeah, I feel like you and I would dance great. It would be perfect. Just dead arm all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I just have to dead arm, then I'm okay with it.
Hey, Adam Thielen has put together an incredible start to the season, week after week. I mean, he has just been impressing everyone, including the guy who's nearly impossible to impress, which is our Hall of Fame wide receiver guy right here in Chris Carter.
I like him a lot.
He likes him a lot. How much of an advantage is it, Cal, for you getting to line up with him every week?
It's been awesome just to work with him and to see where he's come from. I've been asked that question a lot over the last few weeks, and what are your early memories of Adam? What was Adam like when he first got on the team to now? And just to see how much he's grown from being a practice squad wide receiver that was playing corner for us at times on the practice squad to being one of the best receivers in football. It's fun to come to work with him every day, and I just try to learn from him and try to see things that he's doing on a daily basis and just take that, add it to my game, and just really feed off his work ethic.
How much do you think it helps the guys trying to make the team, the guys at the bottom of the roster, to see a guy with Thielen's story who now, a question we were going to ask you is, could he have a 2,000-yard receiving season? Like, do you think that gives those guys almost an added edge as far as no matter where we start with this franchise, we can get to a place where Adam is right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I just talked about, you look back and see Adam's story and kind of being a guy that was not only undrafted but unsigned and came here as a tryout player and rookie minicamp, which there's only been 2 guys that have made our team from that tryout, and Adam and Marcus Sherrill. So the odds aren't great that you're going to have a spot after that weekend. And then you fast forward 6 years and, he's on pace for 2,000 yards in the NFL. So it definitely gives guys throughout our roster hope that, hey, look, if you just worry about getting a little bit better each and every day and not worry about kind of where you fit and if you're going to be on the team, if you're not going to be on the team, and take the approach that Adam took, you never know what can happen.
You're one of the proudest Vikings on and off the field. I've been fortunate enough to know you for a long time, know your family. Make sure you tell your pops I said, what's up? That's where you got your talent.
I will.
And everything got you good looks from your mom and everything. Tell her I said hello, too. But
absolutely.
You've been supported by this Vikings organization. You know some of the stories that aren't even out there publicly. You guys had a coach die this offseason. Last year, you had Coach Zim go through several struggles off the field as far as surgeries and everything. The Vikings, they supported me throughout my career. They made me the man that I was. And that's one thing that you respect. Everson Griffin, he's a guy that's been there almost the same time as you. You guys are one of the most tenured Vikings there. To see one of your friends and one of your brothers struggle the way he did with mental illness and everything, let me know how that affected you and the organization and what they...
And they care so much more about just football. It's this organization here. And, we just tried to be there for Everson throughout everything that he was dealing with. And as he stated a few different times, it's so much more than just football. And there's so much more to us as players than just the guys that you see on the field on Sundays. So it's been great to have him back at practice this week. Everson is not only a phenomenal pass rusher, but he's a guy that brings a smile and it just exudes energy each and every day at practice and in the locker room. So it's been awesome to have Everson back. And, I told him when I saw him that it hasn't been the same without him around the facility. You're so used to hearing someone with this, extremely high-pitched laugh and, always cracking jokes. So it's been good to have him back around the building.
That's really great. All right, let's move on to this Sunday. You guys are going to play the Saints. Last year, in the playoff game, a little something called the Minnesota Miracle happened. We heard from Drew Brees earlier in our show who said there's no vengeance here. There's no revenge factor as the Saints come into this game. But I have to imagine you guys take a little bit of what happened last year into Sunday. How much of that do you carry with you when you get ready to face this team again?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and, obviously it's a question that we've been asked about a lot this week, and people keep asking if it's something that, you get tired of talking about or are tired of being asked about. And, my answer to that question was just, I would hate to be in their shoes. They're obviously getting asked about it as well. And for us, we were on the right side of the play. We very easily could have been on the other side of the play and be dealing with those questions that they're dealing with. So it's been good to be on the positive side of that play and being asked questions about it, being able to kind of relive that memory a little bit. That was so great. And obviously, one of the best memories in our franchise's history. But with that being said, that play and that game has nothing to do with the 2018 Minnesota Vikings playing the 2018 New Orleans Saints. So they got a really, really good football team, and they're playing well. They won 5 straight, so it'll be a good test for us on Sunday.
Your guys' season, of course, obviously didn't end the way you would have hoped. It was a game Chris and I were at. It looked like you guys were in control of, and then all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, I've never heard a stadium louder. The Link's on fire, and your guys' season is approaching its end. What are the biggest adjustments you feel this team has made this year to go a step or two further in the postseason?
Well, I think, for us as a team, as I alluded to early in our interview, was just learning what allows us to win football games and knowing the type of football that we need to play to be successful. And, we had a game earlier this year where we just, went out, tried to roll the ball out and got beat on a game that on paper we should win. So I think the biggest thing that we've learned and, been able to grow from early in the season, the way the last season ended, was just the style of football that we have to play. And, hopefully that the way the season ended last year has put a chip on our shoulder, giving us motivation throughout the offseason to not only get back to where we were last year, but take that next step.
Kyle, I want to ask you about something you're doing off the field. You do such great work, and I'm not sure a lot of people even know about it, at the University of Minnesota Children's Hospital, a program that's called the End Zone Program. Tell us a little bit about the work that you and your wife do there.
Well, we've been extremely fortunate to have a relationship with the University of Minnesota Masonic Children's Hospital, and it's a relationship that the Vikings have had well before I even got here. I was fortunate to have older teammates when I got here who showed me what it means to be a extremely dedicated man off the field in the community, to make the Twin Cities community, which is now home for my wife Jordan and I, a better place than when we got here. And we just wanted to provide a space for the patients and families at that hospital that, when they're there for an extended period of time, all these kids want to do is be kids. And unfortunately, their disease or their illness has taken their childhood away from them. And, I always tell people that cancer, disease, illness, it doesn't discriminate. Every single person's life has been affected by it in one way or another. So we just try to do it a little bit that we can to make their time while they're at the hospital a little bit more enjoyable.
It's awesome. It's obviously more important than anything you'll ever do on the football field, and it's a great thing you do in the Minneapolis community that Chris has told us a lot about. Another thing Chris has told us a lot about is his high school basketball career. You'd think this guy, to this day, he thinks, oh, I'd have been in the NBA like my brother. I'd have done this. You had a very distinguished, he ain't denying it. You had a very distinguished high school basketball career. I think 3-time Conference Player of the Year. You've been great in the NFL. You're a team captain, you're a Pro Bowler. You also see Andrew Wiggins across the street from you. That's $150 million. Karl Anthony Towns, he's probably looking at about $200 million. You ever wish, you ever have a what if I would have stuck with basketball moment that ever crossed your mind?
Every day. No, I'm kidding. I am a basketball player at heart. It's a game that I loved, growing up, obviously playing both football and basketball. And, I joke around with people all the time, go back to my 16-year-old self when I was sitting down with Coach Tressel at CC's alma mater. And, my first 2 years of high school, I was pretty much set on going and playing basketball in college. I was getting recruited to play basketball in college. And the recruiting process for football was just getting started. And Coach Tressel sat me down in his office and said, I heard you're a basketball player. And I said, yes, sir. I love football. I enjoy it. Obviously, I'm at camp here having fun with my buddies from high school, but I think I want to do this basketball thing. And he's like, well, maybe you should think about football. You might be able to do it for a living one day. And from that point on, I kind of shifted my thought process and what I wanted to do, and ended up obviously choosing football. But I go to as many Timberwolves games as I can, try to play pickup with those guys from time to time. Karl is a great friend of mine, so I still try to get my fix when I can, and of course I think I could still play. I mean, who wouldn't? What good competitor wouldn't think that they could still play? So if the Timberwolves need me from mid-February for the playoff push, I'm always available.
Yes, awesome.
If they have another lockout, he's available.
Absolutely, that's great. They might be, especially they might make a trade. They might need some big men help. So there you go. Yeah. I like that.
That was before Urban Meyer got to Ohio State. We utilize our tight ends now. He would have come to Ohio, but he went to Golden Domer. Okay.
Yeah.
Kyle, thank you so much for hanging out with us and for making our dance, that dead man dance, just cool again. Much appreciated. Good luck Sunday against the Saints. When you're in New York, come stop by the